Hi watch friends, and thanks for tuning in again. Today we are going to take a look at a watch from my own personal collection, the Lorier Neptune Series III. I bought this watch back in October 2020 because I wanted a vintage looking skin type of diver's watch that breed a certain vintage class and elegance that we can see back in watches from the 50s and the 60s, but with some modern and reliable tech inside. It also needed to have that certain romantic but cool charm over it, just like we can see with these kind of iconic dive watches from the 50s and 60s. For example, with the Rolex Submariners from that era, like the reference 6538, or the Omega Seamasters of that era, like the reference CK 14755. These were some of the best diver watches of that era that were really used as a serious and important tool for divers back in the day. And when wearing the Lorier, it makes me think back of that period of time, but also to all those classic James Bond movies with Sean Connery and Sir Roger Moore that I've watched as a young kid. So as a fan of the James Bond movies and of vintage watches of that particular era, it was inevitable that I would add this watch to my collection at some point. Now let's start off with a review and let's kick things off with the intro. From the moment you lay eyes on the Lorier Neptune Series III, you're transported back to the golden age of diving watches. The black dial with gilt hands and details immediately catches your attention, exuding that timeless elegance reminiscent of the 50s and the 60s. I just love the extreme domed Hesalite crystal and the slim and smaller case size. On wrist it is just perfection. The comfort, the look, it's awesome. I've read some comments in the past with complaints on incomprehension about the choice for a Hesalite crystal, stating that it could be a money-saving decision from the brand. But personally I see this differently. I feel that the owners from Lorier, Lauren and Lorenzo, had made a bold decision to remain 100% committed to giving the wearer the same feeling as you would get from a vintage watch of the 50s and 60s. So this includes the choice using materials like the acrylic crystal from that era. You feel like you are wearing a new old stock watch from the 50s and 60s, which is very cool. I don't polish this watch and it may collect scratches on the case and the crystal. For me this only adds more to the character and personality of this watch that is in keeping with the vintage charm of the Neptune. So sorry watch friends, if you can't stand scratches on watch cases and crystals, yeah, then this is the time to click away, because there will be some macros included today where every imperfection will be visible on the screen. So I have chosen for the black and gilt dial version because the gilt gave a certain warmth to the watch that matches very well with the rest of the design. We can see a very well balanced dial with sharp but distinct hour and minute hands, also executed in that warm gold color tone. Just above the center of the dial we have the logo with the brand name, also in gold color tones. And just above the 6 o'clock marker we can see the water resistance stated on the dial, which is a very capable 200 meters or 660 feet. The font is attractive and small. The look is just very classy. Going to the outer perimeter of the dial we can find the railroad minute track, also in a gold tone color. To give some contrast to the dial we have attractive and puffy lume plots surrounded by a thin gilt circle. Moving on to the bezel, we can see that the vintage design is reflecting back here as well. The thin black aluminium insert is looking very elegant and classy. Contrasting to the black insert, we can see small silver colored numerals for keeping time when diving. The stainless steel bezel ring is thin but has a good grip because of the fine knurling. The design is very refined, just as the feel when operating this bezel. It has little to no backplay, and the 120 click unidirectional bezel feels very nice when operating. It aligns perfectly and the audible clicks are nice to hear. For me, this bezel and the bezel action gets a 9 out of 10. The stainless steel case has a sleek and sharp profile with pointy looking lugs. The lugs also have a nice curve to them and they are drilled for easy strap changing. On top of the lugs and case we can see a nice highly polished bevel that follows the sides of the case of the watch. I will already throw in some specifications. The height of the Neptune is just 10.3 mm and 12.7 mm, including that extreme domed Hasselite crystal. This gives the Neptune a skin diver profile as opposed to the Submariner that Sean Connery wore back in the day that was nearly 60 mm tall. And this is what makes the watch so elegant and classy. The Neptune strikes the perfect balance between ruggedness and sophistication, and those drilled lugs offers a touch of practicality while maintaining the watch's classic charm. The crystal then. This is what makes this watch so special for me. Just as with my first luxury watch that I've bought back in 2022, the Lorier offers the same vintage tool watch nature and feeling as with my Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional. Before I bought the Omega, I had saved up my money for a long time so I could buy my Grail watch. Now I'm a sucker for watches with some good history or story behind it, and preferably with a vintage and tooly character to it. So yeah, the Speedmaster had it all for me, including that awesome bubble looking Hasselite crystal with that beautiful distortions. I've enjoyed this watch for more than 2 years, but ironically my favorite watch is the only watch that I have ever sold from my own collection. So yeah, the reason for that was that I could start with my YouTube channel, but that's a story for another time. What I love about the Hasselite crystal is the optical warmth and the distortions that it offers. Hasselite also doesn't suffer from glare or smudges to the same degree as sapphire, and it is tougher against impact. Looking at the screw down crown, we see that it is signed and has the logo embossed on the polished side. The knurling is very fine but grippy, and the crown sticks out around 4 mm, and it has an oversized big crown design with a diameter of 7.4 mm. The winding action is smooth and it is very easy to operate because of the size. And talking about the size of the crown, it is a very important element to the design of the watch, and it gives the Lorier more presence on the wrist. Now let us shed some light on the Lume. The color has a nice soft blue hue of color and it is very responsive. It also lasts long during the night, but it doesn't glow very bright as I have seen on other watches. In that regard, you could say that it is in keeping with the vintage style of the watch, but this could be a point where there is room for improvement. On the Series 3, which we have here today, only the triangle at the 12 o'clock position is lumed next to the markers on the dial. But with the new series of the Neptune, there is a fully lumed bezel design, so Lorier have updated this part. And maybe there is even a better lume application, but I'm not sure. The Lorier Neptune will come standard on a flat link stainless steel bracelet with a 3-link design. It has a very elegant taper that I find personally very attractive. It tapers down from 22 mm from the case to 60 mm at the clasp to further enhance the vintage look of the watch. The bracelet has fully articulating and solid links and end links that can be adjusted with a screw pin system. It wears comfortable and it has quite a spectacular light play when rolling the wrist in the light. And rolling the wrist over, we can see a nice compact and milled clasp on the underside of the bracelet with 3 micro adjustment holes and a twin button release system. And it is also signed with the logo from Lorier. The clasp is brushed and has a high polished bevel that runs over the sides, which is a nice little detail. Now I have bought some straps specially for this watch, so let us take a look how these look on the Lorier Neptune. Under the closed caseback we can find the Miyota 19S5 automatic movement. It has a smooth beat rate of 4 Hz, it is reliable, cheap to service and accurate within the -10 to +30 seconds. And mine is a little better with +12 seconds a day of deviation. It has 24 joules and a power reserve of 42 hours. So yeah, what we have here is a great reliable Japanese engine, and yeah, it has proven itself already over time and is used by many other brands today. The caseback is kept simple, so you can engrave the caseback of the watch with a date, name or other text of your liking, which was done more often back in the day. The Neptune is produced in small production runs, and all of the models from Lorier seem to sell out quickly, as is the case with the Neptune. Today the Series 3 is replaced by its successor, the 4th series. It has some minor improvements without losing the vintage charm, so that's a good thing. Improvements are, for example, the Lume, and you can choose for a date at the 6 o'clock position. Also the bracelet has a softer and rounded design, and the hands are a little wider with a bigger arrow tip on the hour end. But the black and gilt dial is the only color that is available for the latest series, and like I already mentioned, at this moment they are unfortunately sold out. I don't know when the new stock is coming, but if you are interested, then the best thing that you could do is subscribe for updates on the website of Lorier. The watch comes in a big green box with a logo from Lorier on it, and included in the box is a very practical and well-made leather travel pouch. Also we find a handwritten card from one of the owners from Lorier, which is always a nice detail. A tube of polywax will also be included, and a little screwdriver so you can add and remove links from the bracelet. The latest series of the Lorier Neptune is priced currently at a $499. So there you have it. If you are looking for a vintage dive watch without the risks of high maintenance cost, then this vintage inspired Lorier Neptune could be a great and affordable alternative that can give you the same feeling, but without all the financial concerns that a vintage watch can give sometimes. And that's the beauty here. Vintage and cool looks, but with the modern technology inside that is reliable and also cheap to service. I hope that you've enjoyed the review, and if you want to see one of my other reviews, then click on one of my videos over here or over here. My name is Dick, have a great weekend and I will see you all on the next one. Goed weekend allemaal.